Hi everybody, welcome back to Materia D&D, where we play D&D our way. We are continuing on session 185 of the Crass Menagerie story. This one might as well just be the Rock story, this session, where the Menagerie are inside of the Tower Magnet and are learning something about Rock, their lovely cleric wizard portal friend. At one point, when the menagerie went up to the very top of the giant main room and display and library and laboratory and living quarters and everything that a mage would ever want in a giant dimensional space, they attempted to figure out how to open the door into the room that should be the teleporting room, but Magnus, the keeper, the gargoyle keeper that is bound to this tower, is unable to sense what's in there anymore, and he can sense everything in the tower except for what's in there. So he is cautious about opening it. The menagerie could not open it, and then Rock's spellbook, came loose and began to flutter about. And we had an angry Magnus chasing an angry Caden book, with Marb and Skello fighting each other to be able to catch the book. And they eventually got the book. And now we have a dusted off spellbook that apparated into the spirit of Caden that has gathered the Crass Menagerie minus Rock to go down memory lane and try to explain everything that has happened in the 400 some years since, or more than that technically, more than 400 years since this story began. Rock, however, did unknowingly beseech, or unwillingly, I say, beseeched his deity, or an aspect of his deity, Yuna, and Al and Davis were kind of witness of it, and she assured Rock that he just needs to do what he is best at, and everything will be alright, and everything will be okay. And he is Rock, not anyone else, and he's not the sum of the tragedies of his past. They weren't even his past. He's not worse off for the secrets that he is without even knowing that he is. And as kind of fueled by that comfort, but also fueled by the sense of being upset and angry that he's not truly understanding what's going on, Rock went down to the main portion of the mage tower and is just looking for something, doing what he's best at. And before the break, he rolled a natural 20 for a 34, so that will come into play. But right now, we're gathering with the rest of the Crass Menagerie and Magnus and Quilly and the apparition of Caden, or Dusty Caden, as we'll call him for now, sitting on couches and bean bags and anything that's comfortable as Caden goes down memory lane. I'm ready to go whenever you guys are ready to go.
Yeah, boy.
Let's go.
Okay. So, 20 years have passed since Caden had seen Rocket, and he reveals that he will slip up and call him Rock because Rock was the nickname that he gave Rocket. It was just their childhood best friend's name. So Rock is Rocket. So he'll slip up and he'll say Rock all the time, so forgive me. Or forgive him. Yeah, so for years then after, we traveled with Zygmunt. We called him Ziggy for fun, and he didn't always like it, but he did grow up to be kind of like a father figure, especially for Rocket. But eventually he grew into a father figure for me too. We trained, we learned, we unraveled secrets. He just looks around. In here there are so many secrets. So many wonderful things that we had uncovered, figured out, worked on, and never even completed. Oh, but things were good. Things were good for a while. Good long while, actually. Nice. Zygmunt being of elven descent, well, he was old, but he was able to, didn't seem that old. And as Rock and I spent more and more years under his wings, under his tutelage, under his mentorship, we started to branch out, do our own thing. But often we decided to do things together because we learned that together we were amazing. We managed to avoid all the conflict around the world, especially here in Cled. Managed to focus on what we wanted to do. For the longest time, it was good. We would get summoned by Master Zig to come, help him with his task, his research and studies into the Pantheon. It's kind of interesting. Eventually, it seems like every one of our cloth and our persuasion begins to focus and obsess on something. For Zygmunt, there was two things. Well, I'd like to say there was three. There was his children, Rocket and myself, because he never had any biological children of his own. But that's me giving ourselves a little bit too much credit. His true obsessions was figuring out the origins of, well, everything, and the purpose of the 11, and what made them so special, or if they really were special. Created this whole persona, whole Decolite, which, I mean, I know you guys have been tracking down a little bit. Master Zig was the original Decolite. Did good work. Found out many secrets. We helped find out a lot of the secrets too. Look around, you'll find some of the stuff here. That was one of his obsessions. The other one was, well, ending the Black War. He knew that if it did not stop, Cled would not be here, Materia would not be here. But he knew he couldn't end it with this display of force, because that would only inspire others to emulate and then escalate. Because these lands were ravaged by 1,000 years of escalation. He didn't want that. He eventually found a solution. But we'll get into that later. Rocket, wanted to be Zygmunt. And I don't mean that in just capabilities, but eventually he wanted to be Zygmunt. He wanted to take his place. I think originally the intentions were good. No one really lives forever. Zygmunt wanted to be there to take the reins when, or Rocket wanted to be there when Zygmunt wasn't around anymore. But there was a problem. Rocket was a person, a man, a human. And that, to him, was his greatest burden. Yes, thanks to the things that we studied and arcane exposure and secrets we learned, we were able to prolong our lives well beyond their natural means. But we were not able to last. Every mage obsesses about something. Rocket became obsessed with finding a way to exist forever. Of course, there's been many studies of it. They're most common and unsavory is the process of lichdom. Looks around to see if anyone understands what that is.
Blank.
Surprisingly, oh no, Davis, surprisingly, kind of you do, just because of your exposure to the maze. Like, blank stare, be like,
Oh, fair.
wait, I kind of know?
Is that what that is?
Yeah. Anyway, he, Rocket loved himself too much to go down that path. That was out of the question. Though he did research, I helped. But eventually, his obsession drove him to many corners of this continent, and then later parts of the globe, while our master stayed back and laid out his groundwork for ending the Black War, creating powers and nexuses of power and persuasion, amplify his abilities to great height. You were in such a place before, a few. Sculpted dimension, the ruins of the choke, were some of Zygmunt's arcane bastion, the mage tower. But Brock went places. He went to temples of origins to try to understand how life came to be. He went to deep underground chasms trying to find creatures that could exist without light exposure, and maybe they had some secret to life. Traveled to the deepest portions of some of the oceans to see if there was buried knowledge there or sunken knowledge there. Always returning disappointed, but always making some progress. And, well, we were capable. He was capable. He was the direct apprentice to the most powerful practitioner of magic probably definitely this continent, possibly this world has ever seen. So he continued digging and diving, and one of his first attempts to understand what his master could do, and don't get me wrong, Zygmunt was no blind fool. He could see the ambition and the drive and even the misguidedness of, for all intents and purposes, his son. He kept some secrets from Rocket. He kept the secrets from me as well. And we knew this, but Rocket grew to 5 Zygmunt with it. Rocket began to become more and more extreme in his attack to gather knowledge, to find secrets, and uncover a way to exist in perpetuity. He made some dark deals with some questionable individuals. Those of you that... Actually, I'll just let everybody. Anyone that wants to, you can give me a history check at disadvantage, or... Yeah, a history check at disadvantage. Sorry, it's a hard check, but anyone's able to do it.
I'm not there, right?
Oh, you're not.
Okay.
So many dice.
Oh, and then, sorry, can I say, you may add your primary stat. So, like, if you're a Tokaros, you can use strength or intelligence. You can add that to the history check. Davis, you can add charisma or strength. Al, you can add dex or charisma. Like, your primary stat that you use, you can add it to this. Because it does involve you guys. But it's still meant to be a difficult check.
Marb stole my good dice.
That's fine. And then Rock, Rock, I'll get to your check. You're just investigating, kind of pulling books and objects and whatever. I just gotta find a good stopping point in Flashback City. Oh, Davis. Wait, Davis?
Yeah, I mean, I rolled well.
Davis and Marb are above 20, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Davis and Marb are above 20.
Wait, I'm gonna get the.
Is there anyone else that I'm missing?
Can you say the bit about the primary stat one more time?
So you can add Charisma or Dex for you, because those are your two stats that you use the most. For you, it would be Charisma. You have a +6 in it, so I understand you.
I was gonna say,
That's same deal for Marb. He can also
do wisdom instead.
Wisdom or Dex, yeah.
Okay.
I would say use your mental unless it actually makes sense to use your other, but I'm not gonna gate you at that. I'm not gonna be like, oh, you can only use his wisdom. I don't care. It involves him, so.
There we go.
Okay, so yeah, so Marb, Davis, Marb and Davis. Marb and Davis. Yeah, okay.
The best two members of the menagerie, of course.
Unsavory individuals? Unsavory dealings with people of power? There was a mage tower they all went to. Y'all did not explore very much of it. But it did cause Rock to have a flashback. You remember it?
I mean,
Oh,
unsavory mage tower, I instantly think of the necromancer tower, but I don't think that's what you're talking about.
no, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Rock had one of his original flashbacks of his old hands carving people up. Stuff. Rocket worked with Elsewhere at one point.
Cool.
Man wanted to live forever. She went down the Lichdom path.
Yeah, she did.
He went down a different Lichdom path because she, instead of using normal flesh, uses aberrant flesh. And that's why she became an aberrant lich. So yeah, Davis and Marb was there, so makes sense that Marb got it. So yeah, Davis and Marb put that piece together. Rock did an alliance with Elsewhere. At one point.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, they led him to some unsavory alliances. Zygmunt was incredible. He found ways to push the boundaries. And I think, well, boundaries of possibility. You ran into something like that. When we were in the sculpted tower, you met the curator there, the custodian. The custodian was Zygmunt, like a snapshot, like an image of him put into a entity. It had most of his knowledge up to that point in time. It had a lot of its abilities up to that point that Zygmunt had. So Zygmunt made some alterations to make sure that the construct wouldn't become too dangerous. This was something that he would not teach us. This drove Rocket mad. He experimented. And then we'll jump back to you guys. So, if I ask you guys to remind me where we left off, copying the mind. Copying the mind. Just say that, and I'll know exactly where I left off, okay? Alright, Rock, with your 34, sorry I made you wait so long. So, explain what you're doing as you're searching and looking, Rock, and then I'll kind of fill in things that happen. Be so kind.
What? Can you give me a brief rundown on what this main room's got in it? Yeah.
Literally, so I will stress this. Imagine a world's most, well, I'll say fantasy world's most overly stocked museum, library, laboratory, and living quarters, armory, whatever you would imagine a wizard would have, all smashed into one room, scattered about. It's a display. It's a living quarter. It is both home and work and play. It is the accumulation of ego and comfort. Like, it's just everything.
I'm gonna grab food.
Food. Of course. So as
I'm
you're
gonna grab some food and Ian these treats.
So are you
I'm
grabbing
finding
yourself, or are you finding food in here?
I'm finding food in there and alcohol.
That works. So with a 34, easy. You kind of are walking around, and as you're kind of passing a section, you see a display, and in this display, it's a massive glass pane, vertical glass pane, and in between is sandwich is two massive set of wings, and they're like outstretched fully, and they're being like kind of suspended in between these two things of glass. And there's this extremely strong smell of sulfur and rot, but it's like they're not decaying, but it's like coming from that. And with the 34, I'm not even gonna make you roll. These are Bean's wings that somehow Rocket managed to gather and put on display. Massive. They probably belonged to like something like a Balrog or something. Display, casually on display. And then you smell something kind of. Are you going for something sweet or something savory? What do you want with your alcohol?
I'm very much in a be stubborn juice, and yeah. So you know what? I'm treating myself. I'm looking for sweet.
Sweet. Yeah. So as you kind of turn, you see not like a work desk, but essentially like a desk. And on there's a lamp that as you approach, it begins to illuminate. And just like all of us who grew up in the 90s, there's a metal tin there. And as you approach it, it has like beautiful scrawling on it. There's metal work on it that like is colorful and inlay. And then you kind of open the tin, and there are buttery, sweet cookies just there, perfectly preserved, ready to go. Some of them have like big crystalline pieces of sugar on them. Some of them are like half dipped in chocolate. Some of them are like sandwiched with some little like berry jam. They smell sweet. They smell amazing. Have yourself some cookies.
Excellent. I would take my treats and sit in the very center of the room.
Very center of the room? Okay.
Yeah.
So,
And
as you're walking along the way, you find various glass bottles just kind of put in various shelves, and you grab one and you kind of with your mouth uncork it, give it a sniff. Oh yeah, that's booze. That's strong booze. Put the cork back on, and kind of walk with some cookies and booze, and you sit in the middle of the room. What do you?
I eat and I drink.
Right.
And for now, I am just going to stare at things. Just kind of get a feel for the room. Try and put myself into the mindset,
Yeah.
the owner of this room, to see like what had value, and what was each area.
Gotcha. So as you're kind of sitting there, kind of swigging back some rather high proof alcohol, enjoying these delicious sweet cookies. This is where your 34 kind of cuts in. It comes in more. You'll start to like kind of focus on things, kind of imagining yourself in here, and you don't get so much like flashbacks, like not the one that has been haunting you, where you were like the old shrivel hands carving into things, into people. But you get a sense, like you know where you need to walk to find some answers. Like you look over at a set of bookshelves and you're like, I need to go there. And then you look up at a wall and you see an axe and a dagger pinned to the wall, like on display. You're like, I need to go there. There's little parts that like you map yourself a little journey that you're going to take, and you'll find answers in all these places. You just let me know when you're ready to go. You just sit and enjoy your booze.
Okay, I'm not drinking to get hammered. I'm just having some drinks and taking a break. That's
Gotcha.
stuff.
Do you want to continue, or do you want me to jump to the other?
You can give me some time to just chill there.
Cool. All right. Other group. Copying the mind.
Yep.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So, actually, Rock, if you will allow me to do one thing, this will just kind of make it a little bit more smooth. As you kind of sit in the middle of the room, you can kind of hear some of Caden's discussions, and you'll hear him say like copying the mind and all that, and you'll instantly know where to go. Rock, you'll walk over to one of these like a scroll, it's a beautifully carved wooden essentially like a bookshelf, but instead of shelves, that's like Swiss cheese with different little holes, and in each one of those holes there's like scrolls that are put in that are also elegantly topped, and you just pull out a couple of the scrolls, and you're just kind of taking a swig, and you just kind of toss the scrolls towards the group that are sitting on the couches and beanbags, and then you walk back to the middle, and you just kind of sit down, eat some cookies and all that. Let me let the cats in. What you doing?
Okie dokie.
That's just because you rolled a 34 and it's easy for me to incorporate it. So Rock found you guys some scrolls. In these scrolls, they're, as you guys kind of open them, whoever grabs the scrolls and kind of opens it. And Caden can interact with things in here. He's made of matter, so because he's dust, so he kind of grabs one of it, kind of pops it, and looks at it, and he just kind of looks at you. He's like, "See, he's amazing. He already tell you about." And he kind of unwinds the scroll so like it lays out or rolls before you guys, and it's a pretty long scroll. This right here is Rocket's notes on every attempt he made to copy his consciousness. He looks at you, Davis. Consciousness. Your thoughts.
Oh, okay.
What makes you you? So, and then Magnus will kind of pipe up. He said, "I told you we got a room for that." Just kind of grins. So, here, he tried for about a decade until he got something right. Never quite happy with what he got. Can I get, except for Rock, whoever is proficient in investigation or what would apply to like reading, finding something.
History. I don't know.
I kind of want to put in like survival because you're kind of navigating the pages, but like or the scroll. Trying to see if got. But let's just do history. Yeah, we'll do history. So either history will be a higher DC. So history or investigation. I was trying to split it up from 2 intelligence checks, but that's the 2 that make the most sense. See if something pops out at somebody.
Not bad.
Oh, Karos. Oh, Al, nice. Okay, cool.
Marv, get out of here. Dummy.
Investigation might be easier, unless it's a DC 15. Ah!
We got a natural 9 for Karos. Okay, nice. Okay,
Really?
okay. So with a 29 Karos, Al, 25 is respectable. But again, history made it a harder check.
Mhm.
So you kind of start following and kind of like skimming the 2 of you kind of faster down the scroll. And you guys are kind of able to read this, and you're kind of realizing that as you look at it, you see the words, and then you kind of see that cipher that you guys craft kind of superimposed in like a blue hue over it, and then you're able to read the words.
Ooh.
And as you're kind of following through it, there's a section here where he says, or initially it says, a success. Research log in here, and it's a success. I managed to copy most of my mind, my thoughts, my feelings, my consciousness into a vessel, into a jar. Like he explains it like into something that can hold it, but he's like not, and he's like, and over time, this swirling consciousness became something physical, is the best way you can explain it. And what I originally considered a success over the course of the next few months turned out to be a disaster. And I only managed to copy parts of my consciousness, part of my emotions, but I was not able to control which ones. And this led to the creation of someone, something that I have labeled as red. I think you know where this is going.
You say red as in the color?
Red. R-E. Red took on all of my ambition with none of my stops, my checks, my balances. Red took on most of my ego with not even a slice of humility. Red took on most of my hunger for power without understanding the consequences of using such power. Red was something fascinating to have conversations with, but even I knew Red ultimately was a failure. However, Red being part of me was not something that I could just eliminate, destroy. I don't know how to explain it. This is the scroll, as you guys are kind of reading it. Sorry, I should be clear. This is Rocket writing in this scroll below. So I carved out a space. In the ethereal. Because I knew red needed to be segmented from the rest of reality. Because this is one mistake that I know could come back and bite me and my ass someday as well.
Boy,
I went to the Ethereum.
I was gonna say,
Go
boy, if anybody let that thing out, they'd have been real stupid.
Oh, I'm thinking there's more than one. Just got that one.
I will say, this has all been here this whole time. Red has his weakness. Red, he says, Red is just a conscious. Red has no true physical form. But the purpose of Red and the purpose of my experiments was to create a conscious that I can put into something. Put into a empty shell. Well, technically you guys both made the threshold. Can I get Al and Rock? So not Al and Karos to roll me, this would just be intelligence checks. So, let's put it this way. These will be just character checks. So, give me an intelligence check with proficiency, Karos, and then give me a charisma check with proficiency, Al. They're just character checks. See if you guys can pick up something.
Okay.
You guys were both there, so you guys can kind of pick on something.
I'm just gonna click investigation again.
That's fine. Yeah. That's fine. Like Al, you can do like. Well, no, you can't do any of yours because you're either expertise or no expertise.
You're that weirdo.
So,
So it'd be proficiency plus charisma. So d20 plus 11 for you, Al.
okay, I'm gonna. Apparently when I do charisma checks,
click it,
it
yeah.
does the half proficiency.
Oh, that's so
I
funny.
get bardic for that.
Yeah, for all skill check. Yeah.
Yeah, that
That
makes sense. Cause
Okay,
yeah,
I forgot that counts too. Okay,
Yeah.
so I'll
let's do D20.
so it'll be plus 11.
Yeah, just do d20 plus 11.
I was trying to math that out. Like, where's this coming from?
Yeah. No, you're good. Okay, so Karos, you pick up on something. Al, you kind of are kind of understanding like, oh shit, this is crazy, and as I kind of see Al, like as these two guys are reading it, he kind of stops for a moment and it explains it a little bit better for you, Davis. Like he's just like, this means this,
Oh,
Well, you
so,
say
yeah, and that's why Al, you're kind of falling behind, and
you're like my tutor.
Karos, yeah, and then Karos, like you guys get to another section and it says, Red cannot exist without a physical vessel, a physical shell. And because he is part of someone that was magically inclined, a limitation for him is that he requires someone of magical capabilities, or they require someone of magical capabilities, or they will just burn through whoever they may, whatever vessel, whatever entity they become part of. So, Carlos, you understand. So if Red goes into like your average normal Joe farmer, that farmer will probably die within 24 hours just because they can't contain Red. Red went into Rock at one point, and Rock was fine. Rock was like supercharged because Rock was compatible with Red because not only was he magical, he is now, you understand, part rocket as well. So it was like a good match. A question to be asked, and this is something you may be able to find, why Hava Cloud Song? Why was she chosen by the hag?
Yeah, because they had wigs. Or did they have wigs at that point? I forget.
It did. But Hava was the choice.
Yeah.
And as far as you guys know, she never did anything magical. there's reasons. Red exists. Red is a copy of all the, well, not all, but most of the worst qualities of Rocket. And Rocket realized this, and Rocket shoved him into an extra-dimensional space inside of the ethereal and created a guardian to watch over it to keep him there for all eternity. Now, Karos, because you rolled well, and because you were captive, and I don't know how to introduce this in the story any other way, but it happens to work this way. Because I want to give you guys this little bit of lore, and I don't mind. I don't want to keep secrets from you guys, because this is kind of lore stuff. So we'll say that in your time when you were captive with Pava, Wiggs, and yourself, and Laukai, Virgie, and Amy, the three Eastern hags, you would overhear things because you never let yourself lose your sense of your surrounding. And you remember, because you were captive for quite a long time, you were actually captive before they got Wiggs and before they got Pava. No, I think. Yeah, because you came to investigate, not to find those two people. Yeah, so you were actually the first one captive. You remember there were times where the sisters would gather around the cauldron and they would try to commune with whatever, and there would be, the puff of smoke and then the voices and all that. And you remember picking up on a few times where the puff of smoke would be different, but the sisters never seemed to really notice it. They were just, doing their chanting and their ritual. And it was a red in a color. So it seemed like somehow they were able to tap into, or reverse, red was able to influence the area and reach out, because red is the copy of a very powerful mage. And while he was physically bound in the prison, doesn't mean that he can't exude a presence. And red would communicate with the three sisters, and red is the one that told them that, hey, they need to go break this thing out. Not telling them that it was him saying it. They thought it was someone else. And that's where red convinced them that they needed to capture someone. And you remember the hag saying, there is a hag born that never became. And that's when Pava got captured. So Pava, you can deduce, is a hag born that never turned into a hag. She's powerful, but she doesn't know it because Seb rescued her and never let her get turned into a hag. And that's why, way back when she was able to read all those languages, none of you insight checked her. And I was like, yeah, she's a linguist. You guys went with it.
Is it so hard to believe a woman can be?
Yeah, gosh, you're such a
Come on,
Gosh,
come on.
Adam.
chauvinist.
We're just immediately supposed to be suspicious when a young woman is a polyglot.
No, I know.
27 languages, that's a talent, She,
Yeah. No, it was funny because I remember one of those first times I was like, they're gonna question this instantly, right? And they never did. I was like,
whoa, she's a badass.
and it is something ridiculous. Like, why does she know Infernal and why does she know whatever the other language was? I was like, I was hoping I'll ring some bells. Okay, so yeah, Hava, as you can deduce, is the Hagborn that they were talking about. And now that you understand that Red needs a powerful vessel to be inside to take over, that is why she was chosen for the ritual. And that's why they were captive. Now, the other thing that you can deduce, because you're fucking smart, and I don't mind giving you this, is while Red was not able to physically do things, because he's literally a glass jar filled with a gas that represents consciousness, he's still able to exude his presence. And if the hags were so easily tricked to do the ritual on behalf of the hag mother, but the hag mother really wasn't the hag mother was actually the Mad Titan, and all this happened, and you understand from what Hayden is saying and from what they've been reading that Rocket had some crazy ambitions, and Red got all of his ambition, but none of the checks. Rocket is probably the one that got in touch with the Mad Titan somehow. And kind of was like the herald of the Mad Titan.
Rocket or
And
Red?
Red managed to get in touch with the Mad Titan because he is still an extremely powerful wizard just confined into a bottle. He's possibly something akin to like the herald of the Mad Titan. Hey!
I mean,
Hey!
you're in a bottle for hundreds of years.
Yep. You're desperate to get out. No, you're right.
You go a little crazy.
Yeah. So I like that you put that up because that is exactly what happened. You had all the ambition of that, but he's still a consciousness in a bottle for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. With literally the only companion was the Caneloth to guard him, and the Caneloth was a construct, so he could not take over the Caneloth or a created creature. So that is where that came from. So, but yeah. So, and then the scroll would go on to saying, I need to figure out how to do this better, but I also need to figure out how to create a physical form for myself. And that's where the next bit of obsession comes in. Any questions, any comments? You guys discuss amongst yourselves, have some role play. I've talked too much.
I just like the thought of like Al doing brief asides to Davis, like every time, like vessel. It's like a container for something.
So you see how he says he's successful, but it's
A
still like the
container.
first chapter, and there's like 30 more chapters? I don't think it was very successful.
Oh,
Let's read
yeah.
on. Let's see where this goes.
I would
was
just
gonna
say, as a player, this has
go
been
ahead.
pretty cool. It is tying a lot of stuff together, which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hoping that it's not tropey at all. Like, I would very hard to try to come up with a unique story.
That's just crazy.
So what was that, Carlos? You said something.
So, none of what has gone on so far, at least just with what you've currently read, leads me or Karos to think that it has anything directly to do with rock right
Yeah.
now.
Right.
Yeah, that is
Now,
correct.
Further chapters could potentially change that, but yeah, everything has just been about consciousness and this, and as far as he's concerned, it sounds kind of just like dumb luck.
Yeah.
That,
They had a brief tryst.
right, that they happen to end up being in the same, a similar same location, and oops, killed your guardian.
Did I do
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. So, correct. Like, that is good information. Right? Let's put it this way, and this is DM giving you some insight. This would have happened if you guys weren't in Green Hill anyways, right? The only difference may have been that Ava would now be possessed by Red.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but like Red's just at large then. Like we didn't do anything about that.
Yeah, Red escaped because you guys did what you were supposed to. You guys did what you were told.
Yeah, we unleashed that motherfucker.
Yeah. You guys didn't have contact. You just knew that this would get Wiggs and Ava and the Karos individual their freedom.
Well, he did say please. It's hard to say no to that.
And then so the red crazies were just like him
Have some influence.
influencing them.
Yeah, them being basically like out of madness or being influenced. He possessed somebody and was just upset as just his presence was driving people crazy.
Got it.
As he is just exuding unchecked, desires and lust and ambition and and then he's been in contact with the Mad Titan for
True.
hundreds of years, so he's gone insane as well.
Got it.
So that's where that came from. So yeah.
There was the hag thing with the bountiful harvest, and I think it was putting potential inside of the crops. And was there a red flavor of that with fish, or am I misremembering something?
It was in the fish, but no, I mean, just the fact that he was in the river. I mean, that was the fact that the exit point to the extra dimensional space that Rocket carved out to make the prison.
Mhm.
Because if you remember specifically, the ethereal plane kind of mirrors the material plane, though maybe the architecture is different. And this place was legitimately different. Like he carved it out. He basically made like a mage tower room inside of that place, or extra dimensional pocket within the ethereal. The exit to that shot out into the river. So maybe that's why you're remembering fish. And but yeah, essentially what they were doing was so the influence, which they thought was the Hag Mother's influence, was actually the Mad Titan's influence, which the Mad Titan's influence was being put into the world via red. Correct. Yeah, that was going into the food and into the fish and into that. So yeah, if that's what you mean.
Okay. So it all kind of chains together in a way or another. Okay.
Yeah. So remember, Mad Titan tricked hags to think they were doing it for Mother of Bounties, or for the Hag Mother. The hags tricked people to think they were doing it for Mother of Bounties, and that was the chain.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then so red basically was like the herald. I don't know what a better word is. The herald of the Mad Titan, and he was promised freedom. Got his freedom.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And we're in his
cool.
his hood right now.
House now. Yeah, that right, Magnus.
You're in the original Rocket's house.
Well,
And
yeah,
then
but I also mean like the Red's influence could be around too.
Oh yeah,
outside, not in here.
Yeah, I guess.
That's the locked door upstairs is Red's bedroom.
Yeah.
Careful, it's got like heavy metal posters in there. It's pretty evil. Yeah.
Funny. So, yeah. So, and yes, Karos, something you said. None of this leads to, the coincidence of like why they need a person or why the group was part of it or anything like that. Because yeah, all of this that you guys have read about is the consciousness part of it. There's gonna be a physical part of it that comes up next. But I'm going to jump to rock real quick. So, rock and pebble. We'll probably go for a little bit longer, guys, just because I got class in the morning and everything. But maybe rock. You've had some time to eat cookies and drink some booze and plan your way around. What would you like to do?
First I'm gonna get up, and I'm gonna kind of just wander around. I know there's areas I should go to, but I'm just gonna wander around, and if there's anything that looks not too magical but expensive, maybe just knock it on the ground.
Sure. So anything that looks magical and not too expensive?
No, because like magical stuff, as long as stuff doesn't look magical. Like if there's like a row of beakers, it's like, oh no, the beakers.
Yeah, you use your imagination. You go up, table that has some beakers, and you just with your croak staff, knock them off. You go up to one of the mountings where there's like a display case of all these very insects, but none of these insects that you've ever seen here on the world. Okay.
Oh, I don't want to. Now I want those.
Oh, that's fine.
Coming back to those later because I'll see those and I'll be like ready to like. Wait, I don't know what these are. I'm gonna draw these, and then I'll just kind of meander that. I'm not trying to like destroy the place. I'm just venting a little frustration.
No, I get it. You're just a frustrated guy. You're just walking through the grocery store and knocking over some chip bags.
Yeah, you know, like I'm not like everything's a little bit here, a little bit there. Just I'll make it a little more just.
Oh.
But I am gonna wander over to the had an axe dagger on it.
What was that last thing you said? Wander over, do what?
The wall that has the axe and the dagger on it.
Yeah. Okay.
And can I reach them?
Yeah.
I'm gonna take them off the wall.
Okay. You take them. They're mounted nicely on like a decorative backing. It's like beautifully carved wood, and the wood all like it carves into beautiful, intricate feathers. And at the base of it, you see like carved wood that like looks like talons, and the talons are holding the axe and the dagger in place. So you just nicely, gently take them off. Very light, very well crafted.
I'm gonna yell upstairs. I don't know what these are. I'm not gonna say talons and daggers, and I'm gonna yell up, "Hey Marv!"
They're downstairs with you. They're yeah.
Down there.
Yeah.
Can they hear me from where? Like, is it?
Yeah.
Can they hear me? If not, I can also send a message.
Let's have you send a message. That's fine. Yeah. So you point in the direction. Okay, got it.
Into the general direction that I remember the grouping in, and then I'll be like, "Hey Marv, there's some fun things here for you that have. Just come look."
Okay.
I'm expecting like I will return, and he like pulls up his wing, kind of shows himself out, then jumps down.
Yeah. So we'll say that you guys are like all gathered, kind of. You know, he Marv for fun kind of walks up to one of the stairs and then leaps, and because you guys are all on the floor. So yeah, he manages to follow the message and gets to you, Rock. What do you do?
I'm just gonna be like, "Hey, these caught my eye, and one's feathers, and one of them's a dagger. And I thought maybe we could figure out if these are important. And worst case scenario, you can stab something with the dagger, and I'll smash something with the axe, and we'll both be happier."
You want to roleplay it, Al?
I trust you a bit more with this one.
Okay, so sure. I mean, man, those are nice. I mean, I kind of got my dagger already, and I can't get rid of it because it hurts when I get rid of it. But yeah, let's figure it out. I mean, those are.
You got
And he like
two
hugs it,
hands, right?
huh?
Like stab. You've got two hands. Stab, stab.
Yeah, but wouldn't you feel bad kind of separating them? They look kind of like they go together.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. Well,
I'm
have you
not-
seen these markings before?
It's.
I guess I should ask. Have I seen these markings before?
Yeah, I need to get the languages. Give me a second. Wait, Marb really doesn't have that? Okay, no, Marb. No. I'm pretty sure you do. Let me check your languages. Yeah, you can easily. The axe is called Feather, and the dagger is called Talon. The axe, it's beautiful. It here I have an image for it. Give me a second. It almost looks like the axe blade itself, like, is stylized in like a wing, and then the wing is like the wings are made up of feathers. So give me a second. But go ahead. Marv is all game for you trying to help figure this out.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, I guess you're right there. They seem important. I don't know why. They just caught my eye. Maybe I just like pretty things.
No,
I remember I just like having you around again, buddy. Adrian was like, here's Marv.
it's good to be back. Though I do not understand how the hell you guys get mixed up into all this stuff. Like, what's the actual?
We pick a direction and we walk in it, and weird stuff happens.
Okay. So, unfortunately, I could not find two pieces that look like identical. But this is like, imagine the handle on the knife being more like the dark wood, and imagine kind of like the Damascus steel of the talon being kind of rippled through the axe itself. But that's like what they look like.
I need to clang the two blades together. Is anything happen?
Clang. It sounds like a bird screeching, like a bird of prey.
That was cool. I'll do that a couple times just to amuse myself.
Yeah.
And then,
Perception checks for everybody. Yeah. Yeah, that's legitimately what it sounds like.
Always have that on the ready.
Well played.
Yeah. Okay, I will give you this. Obviously magical rock.
Yeah, I know I can identify them, but I just want someone else down here to play him with me.
Yeah, so all of you, so everyone besides, everyone that's gathered listening to story time, all of a sudden you just hear if somebody wants to screech again, go for it. That was perfect.
What is happening, guys? Wizard's Towers, am I right? Oh, God.
Did Marv upgrade his cacaw? Because that's insane.
It's gotten real good.
God, just hearing it makes me think of freedom.
I'm freedom to tell right now.
Oh, God, I'm saluting. I didn't realize it.
Yeah. Oh shit, I did not mean to archive that. Oh, please tell me I didn't lose it. Okay, cool. Yeah, I got it. Alright, well, I have the item to identify it.
Oh,
and then
is Marv interested in it? Is he curious?
I mean, he's like, what does it do? I mean, like, he hears the cacaw, and then Marv tries to mimic it, and he does it perfectly. He's like, I want to know what those can do. I mean, they're a set. I can't give up, but maybe. I'm
like, all right, buddy. Let's. I'll figure these out, and I'll work on identifying them.
Okay.
But as I'm identifying most, for hey, if you want things in here, it's kind of tense. Nobody seems to care.
He's like, I mean, I don't know. Marv is just excited. The cacaw got him all excited. Like, you can see, like, Marv just like, I want to know what it is. And I'll take one of your cookies and eat one of your cookies. He's like,
right. I'll pass him a bottle too if you want.
He's like, no, I gotta stay focused. I have to guide you through. He grabs the bottle, takes a swig, and he gives it back to you real quick. It's like, don't tell anybody.
That helps me focus.
Yeah, well, I'll begin identifying it then.
Okay. I'll just go ahead and Danny, I will need some help making this.
Making
the item.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but I'll send it to you, and I'll send it to Rock. There's that, and where are you, David? Forgive any typos or anything like that. I had to write it up. So, Rock, on your identify, do you want me to read it out, or just the basics on it?
Sure.
Okay, so yes, these are a pair. These are magically bound items. They work together. As mentioned, their name is Feather for the axe and Talon for the dagger. They have a unique requirement where to be able to attune to this, you have to have proficiency in the survival skill. I do not have this on here because I didn't think about it, but now if you ding the blades together, they screech like an eagle. So we will add that to the description of the item. That was on the fly. But yes, so they do have a magical property that is a paired weapon. Attuning to one of these weapons automatically attunes you to the other. They share one attunement. It's not like you're attuning to two separate items. They're one item, essentially. Additionally, a unique property about it is that you can put a loci on the axe, and then you can put a loci on the talon, on the dagger, and then that counts as just one level of loci. So you can kind of double up on the loci. So they split the burden. Kind of similarly, but a little bit different to how the sun and moon pendant for Karos, like you can put them on different items. In this case, it's more like you can put another loci on talon, and then you can put another loci on feather, and then it goes up 1 point in rarity, rather than for each one. I can go on further if you want, but that's the main thing about them.
Okay, no, I'll just keep working on them and then if you...
Okay. And then all that other technical stuff, I sent it to you, and you can choose to either share that, ask me about it, or whatever. So.
Okay.
But yeah.
Yep. I'll have a read of it too.
Yep. So. All right, Rock. Are you walking anywhere else? Knocking anything else over, or doing anything?
Yeah, I don't want to go to the books yet because I know once I get into the books, I'm gonna spend time there. I'm just gonna start looking at all the display cases. One had bugs, so now I'm like, display cases. I imagine like some will have like wizarding stuff, maybe some old artifacts he's found. And I just kind of take stock and see if there's anything that I recognize, or if there's anything that I'm like, ooh, that seems powerful. Maybe I'll just pop that.
I mean, so I will say in here you can kind of just make up stuff like theater of the mind, and you will find interesting, fascinating, fabulous things.
Yeah. I might throw a few things into my bag.
That's fine.
Just feeding it random knickknacks.
Yeah, you can kind of tell me what you're asking, and I will say yes or no or sure or yeah, like that's fine. Like I don't mind. Like I kind of want you to have kind of fun theater of the mind. Something that.
Is there a potion brewing station?
There are many.
Is there any potions?
Sure. Why not?
All right. I want, if possible, I'd like to just like pop 3 random potions. Don't care what they are. Different colors.
Okay.
That one's pretty and teal, and this one's orange, and this one over here is a really nice shade of.
Nice shade of. I don't know. Purple.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, they could be completely useless.
No, I know. Let me just write these down. So, teal, orange, and what? Teal.
A very pretty shade of purple.
And purple. Okay, teal, orange, purple potions. I will do some work, and I will figure out what those are for you.
Alright.
That's kind of what I'm doing rock things. I will return to my around the couches. What layer? Yeah. That's right. Yeah. All right. So, yes. So Karos did make it a mental note. I don't know if he said it out loud that all this has to do with mind, nothing physical. What does it have to do with rock and the coincidence of you guys running into it? Al continues to kind of explain things, and do you guys have any questions or any comments, or shall we continue?
I am getting a little tired, just saying.
Okay, yeah, we'll wrap it up. It's almost 30, so
Yep.
we're almost wrapping up. So, Magnus will say along the lines of that there was a moment where when you guys came in and Magnus was like, "You're the first people that have been in my tower since Rocket left," And then there was the correction of no, people came in here and stole some stuff. And then Magnus will say, fucking Red. Red was the one that incapacitated Magnus that allowed Zarya to come in here and steal some shit for a time. Because he knew about that. So that's all that other though. So what we'll do here, to keep it simple and keep it easy and let people log off, we'll stop here. We'll continue with Caden story time. I will say, just for the, I know I'm saying these things really, but time, like this is a lot of story and a lot of reading. So like, you're probably getting towards the end of the day now. You know, with discussions and understanding and all that. So we'll probably say that it's, you know, it's getting to the point where you guys are getting probably just fatigued from information overload and discussing and all that. All right, we'll pick up hopefully next week with 186 as we figure out the secrets and mysteries of Rocket.